Okay, finally feels like Eastern North Carolina again. A little humidity back out there. Last week it felt like straight November, December, nice cool weather, and back at it this morning. And it was good for our guys to be under that and have a practice in those situations. And obviously, we need a few warm days to kind of make sure we're ready to go. And could obviously be warm on August 28th or anytime in September. So I do want to give a shout out to the men working on the indoor. If you guys haven't seen it, they made tremendous progress. Just all the dirt they're moving around and. Those men are out there and see them out there working at 7 a.m., 7:30 at night, all times, and just going at it. And then just excitement to see that thing moving and progressing forward. Sometimes things you don't really get too excited about them until they start moving along, and that's certainly moving along. And I'm sure this fall we'll see some structures going up. But excited about that. Practice-wise, I didn't think we had the best day yesterday. I thought the energy was much better today. Got a little chippy on both sides, but I'll take that. I told the guys we want to play with edge. We want to play the game the right way. Obviously, we can't take it over the line, but we want to play the game the right way. Didn't we think we had that in practice yesterday? We picked it up a little bit today. Still got a long ways to go. We'll get a really good work day in tomorrow with some situational football. Thursday, we'll slow it down just a tad. And then Friday, go at it one more time before we end camp here. So that's kind of where we're at for the week and kind of the outlook of the week moving forward.
Coach, you kind of hit on it, but it felt like the urgency. You can almost feel it. Maybe it's just you on the mic. I don't know. But, how much are you enjoying that? Could you feel the urgency now to pick up with your staff?
I told Coach Shankweiler if we had our practice field was a little bit more isolated, I'd be on that mic a little bit more, and the players probably wouldn't like it. But no, I thought that just everything we do, it's human nature. If you're not pressing forward just to kind of ease back, that's coaches, that's staff, that's players. I mean, anytime we think we can just, and it's in our personal lives. Hey, we're just trying to get to the weekend so we can go enjoy the weekend. And, I had an elementary school teacher tell me one time, if you're only excited about the weekend, you're going to miss 5/7 of your life. You're going to miss every day of the week. We can't let that happen. If we're not attacking every day with urgency, intent, and purpose, our opponent is, and they're getting better, and we're getting worse. You don't stay the same. So I thought the urgency and intent was much better today than it was yesterday. And it's even got to go up, and we can't let it slide back. I told our coaches it's 4th and 1, and this is probably the toughest week we got. It's week 3 of camp. It's day, I don't know, 14 or so, 15 practice, whatever it is, and you can have a little slide. But we got to keep our foot on the gas. It's got to treat it like 4th and 1, and we still got to go at it. And I thought they did a much better job of that today, and I think we'll do a good job of that tomorrow.
What's you seen improve the most from day one to now, the fall camp?
There's several things, and I think those receivers doing a really good job catching the football out there. Those running backs are showing you they got some depth. The O-line, you've seen a little leadership there. The defense seems to have a little bit more urgency today and intent than they did a few days ago. And I think we got to find ways to play to our strengths too, on both sides of the football, and making sure we're putting those guys in a position where it plays to their strengths and they can be successful. So some of that you learn there in camp of like, hey, what you can and can't do, and what's going to be your best calls, and who you got to put in situations to make plays. So those are all things I think we're moving in the right direction. And as that countdown clock in there keeps rolling, and don't ever stop. I think we're 16 days away, and that thing just keeps going. So and I think we're buying more time. So we better push forward and keep pressing.
When it comes to solidifying travel squad and depth charts, that's something you guys as a staff after this weekend. What are you really planning on that?
Yeah, you're starting to kind of hone in on some special teams. It's not 4 deep on a certain kickoff team. You're kind of getting down at the guys you think might travel. So you kind of have some, your top spots kind of pretty much solidified, but you got some at the bottom of the roster of guys that may not make the travel squad. And I told them, yesterday there's two things. Like, one, you better realize everybody does not travel, and we got some guys out there I don't think they do realize it because their urgency isn't quite there yet, and they better get with it, or they're going to be sitting at the house and watching it on TV instead of being in the stadium and getting to be a part of it. And two, there's some guys over there that at some point they got to get off the bicycle too, and so they can be practiced. They can play college football and they belong here. I told them if they don't, like, hey, I owe it to the guys that make sure we have guys here that can help us win football games. So just trying to send those guys a message every single day and let them know that we ain't around here just to cruise. Life's not about that. Our program's not about that. We got to push forward and in everything. And it's got to be all 120 guys out there and every staff member in the building. So, and that's just who we got to be, how we got to play the game, and it's in all aspects of our program.
You go from one scrimmage last week to like another one this week. Are you kind of treating it a little bit like a game week
Yeah.
as opposed to the film room and all those things? How are the young guys
You have to. Like, how many times do you get to practice a game week before game one? And, going into scrimmage one, it's really like, hey, see where we're at. Just go out there and put the ball down. Let's play. Going into scrimmage two, like we have a scrimmage, at the end of this week, is you want to treat it like a game week. Monday practice, Tuesday practice, Wednesday practice, day before a game, and then go play. And to our players as well. And even leading up to our little scrimmage is our same timing as the first ball game. That way we get used to it. That way when we roll up to Raleigh, it's not the first time we've had the pregame meal or pregame warm up or all those things that you go through. So you want to rehearse that a little bit, and that way that when they get to August 28th, they're just focused on the game. They've been in that routine before, and they got a little routine to them. So we definitely focus on that. And from a preparation standpoint, I want both sides of the ball to kind of, hey, treat it like they're game planning up each other up a little bit, and they do that every day in practice, anyways. But you even, hopefully get a little bit more of that. That way, the players get in that mode and they get in that mentality about things to look for.
You guys, have a lot of specialists. Do you hone in on how many you'll travel there, and then also how's the punting competition?
Yeah, I think you got two really good punters, and Tommy and Ryan that are doing a good job, and starting to hit the ball well. And obviously Ryan's an older young man, I think going on in his 6th year, and played at Furman, played at Duke, and Tommy's playing in his 2nd year, and honestly never punted the football in a college football game. Obviously does a really good job in practice, and got a really good leg. So those two are kind of, doing some good things, and we got to keep pushing forward. So he's going to win that competition. At kicker, the same thing. I think we got some guys, kind of out in front, but was that going to remain the same through the week and through the season? I mean, just because you win the job in preseason camp or week 1 doesn't mean you're going to be the starter in week 8. And we saw that obviously with our quarterback situation last year and how that changed the season for us. But so we got to keep pushing those guys. We'll continue to push them this week. And obviously I think there's 9 or 10 specialists in that room, and not all those guys are going to be on the bus, and they got to realize that too. So I think Tristan O'Brien, doing a really good job at snapper, and probably their snapper there.
How are you seeing the defensive line come along?
Yeah, I just told those guys last night and this afternoon this morning after practice, we got a chance to start 4 seniors up front, and told those guys, like, you can't lead from the back. You got to go lead from the front, and that's really what we're pushing those guys to do. And we talked about put the ball down mentality and taking the field and all those things. You see a boxer go to the ring. He don't just kind of ease up to the ring to go to the match and to the fight. He goes charging to the ring. They're freaking running to the ring to take it on. And that's how we got to be defensively. That mindset. Put the ball down. We're going to meet you out there, and let's go at it. And let's get a stop and get the ball back to our offense. But we got to keep developing that mindset. When we lost some of those seniors last year, they had that confidence. They had that mindset. And we have some older guys right now that, hey, they got to get, grab it by the bull by the horns here and take it on and step up front and make sure they're leading with that mindset and taking the field and all those things.
Is there a position group, specifically you and your staff, are like you really want to see them take a leap this week?
Yeah, to me, and maybe it's because that's my my background is the linebackers, and I think DJ Johnson did some good things today, but DJ, he's got to get over the last play that happened and on to the next play. He just he kind of loses his mind about the last play and telling everybody how good of a job he did. Well, you did your job. I just told him you did your job, and you do your job. That's what you're supposed to do. Now move on to the next play and get ready to do it again. So he's doing really good. But we got to develop that mindset as us as coaches, and but that's the position I see that's got to take the biggest leap this week. If they'll do that, I'll feel a lot better about where we are defensively, and we'll keep pushing them. And and some of that's my background, and that's who I coached for the last probably a dozen years, and where it stands out the most to me.
Coach, Raheem Jr. just looks a lot more comfortable out there. How was
Yeah.
bringing in Mike Wright kind of helped him maybe take a leap and just push him a little bit harder?
Well, I think anytime you create some competition in that room, not only has Mike made Raheem better, Mike's made Caton better. But Raheem looks like a different player from the spring. He looks like a guy that can play here and play at East Carolina and play in this conference and doing a really good job. And just more confidence to him. Everything that seems like the game's slowing down. And sometimes, especially at certain positions, quarterback's one, linebacker might be another one. It takes a couple years for that switch to come on and flip, and you really get comfortable where you're at. And he seems to be doing a really good job and pushing Caton and doing those things right there. So proud of him.